Fredericksburg and Potomac Railroad.
Staggering blow for the Confederacy here. Death of Stonewall Jackson.
The Jackson sign is the cottage to your left.
This is a widow.
The
house, Chandler House in Guinea Station. This short video will be about the death of Stonewall Jackson.
In the painting, you see Fairfield as it was
There's a funeral.
The picture, however,
for the shaky
does
camera.
not represent a typical plantation scene. It depicts a unique and momentous occasion. The arrival of the ambulance carrying General T.J. Stonewall Jackson from the distant field hospital near Chancellorsville, where his left arm was amputated.
Left arm is
He had been wounded by the mistaken fire of his own men at 9 p.m., May 2nd, 1863. It is now late on the day of
They're bringing him to the Chandler House.
Jackson had come to Fairfield to recuperate. The Chandlers offered their brick dwelling, but Dr. Hunter McGuire, medical director of Jackson's Corps, preferred the privacy of the office. Jackson remembered the kindness shown by Mr. and Mrs. Chandler when he camped on Fairfield before the Battle of Fredericksburg in December of 1860. For at the little station in April of
There's his widow there. The stone there in Lexington.
His wife and instantly visited his Fredericksburg headquarters. That was his first sight of duty, and the general was sinking. Sunday, May 10th, was a soft day full of bird song. In the afternoon, about 3:15, Mrs. Chandler and Lucy saw...
This is the waiting room here, inside the Chandler House. It's run by the National Parks. Once again, sorry for the shaky camera. All hopes are recovered. Okay. The time there. This is the bed where Jackson died.
I remember seeing, I guess it was at Gettysburg or something, had that.
This is the bed.
Gettysburg has it. They did have it. Yeah, they did have it. It's like a table, and there's stains on there.
This is again the bed that he died in right there. Everything was tried to maintain original in here. Upstairs here. Servant of Stonewall Jackson.
Yeah, basically, he's being brought from Chancellorsville Battlefield to the closest railroad depot, which is right here at Guinea Station. Their goal was to try to get him on the train, get him to Richmond. But so the Union Cavalry has cut the line between here and Richmond, and it won't be reconnected until May 7th. By that time, he's already starting to shine to the pneumonia.
They tried to get him to better quarters for his hospital, but they couldn't.
So he ends up in here basically as a default. They know he knows the area. This building's set up perfectly for him. All they got to do is bring in furniture, which is what they do.
Now the goat barn was right back in there. There you can see the railroad there. That's where they came from the battlefield at Chancellorsville.
Shows it. Killed at Chancellorsville. Some artifacts here from the Jackson. Here's supposedly the cot that he was taken from the battlefield on. Supposedly with some blood stains still on it. This is on exhibit at the Gettysburg Museum here. So this is the cot here that they can read here. just put this on pause. That's about the stretcher. Jackson's arm was purportedly amputated on this table here. Supposedly blood stains still on this. Jackson was Robert E. Lee's right-hand man, a hard-driving guy. Right there, these are his coat buttons and gauntlets of Robert E. Lee. Now this marks the actual spot where Jackson was killed here. Here he is with his aides here. The original monument was put, maybe about 200 yards from here, and they're believing now that this was the original path here, because this road here, this is where he came down, and this is supposedly marks pretty much the spot where they believe that he was indeed shot by his own men in the dark. We'll have more pictures here coming up. Here's a better picture of it, close up. Check it out. Here's a little diorama here. I believe the flash was on this, so you can't see the proper lighting that was there. But we have better pictures here. Here's one. They're light compensator, and the camera's trying to, but you can see it's a little more darker. His men didn't see him, or thought he was a Union spy coming in or something. Another picture here with his aide. Some people think that he may have even been fragged, shot by his own men, because he had a reputation of really being a hard driver and breaking down a lot of men and really punishing desertion, that kind of thing. Another angle of it. Although the more common conception is that he, in fact, was shot by his own men because it was too dark. Because it was dark at this time, despite the light from the camera here, but it was very dusk. Here's his aide that traveled with him. I think a couple of these guys got out without a scratch on him. Jackson got shot in the arm, and they had to amputate it, got infected. Close-up of him reacting from the hit. Another angle. I'm trying to take you so you're right there when this happened. Only thing missing are the gunshots. Every picture here is different, despite it looks like the same picture. I don't want to leave you. There's his horse, Little Sorrel, who you'll see pictures of later, too. Back angle here. Little Sorrel did survive this. Like I said, we have pictures of Little Sorrel. Here we have an overview. You can see the wagons and the troops, how these guys try to move on these roads, trying to go these little patches of forest, sometimes going miles and miles out of the way and not really knowing where they were. They didn't have walkie-talkies, so a lot of times it was very easy to get lost in this country with these twisting roads. Here's the site Jackson reconnoiteurs. He liked to go out and check things out for himself. That's why he got shot, because he was out there on one of these reconnaissance missions, came back late. Here shows one of Jackson's flanks maneuvers. If you can see the hard marching, he made a lot of enemies. Of course, there was a lot of morale. Everyone cheered him on, but there was a lot of people who really resented him. It just seemed like they were all exhausted. His troops were exhausted at times. This monument here marks the original site where they believe Jackson was killed. But like I said earlier there, I have the other picture is where it actually, they believe it is. Here's the famous Cracker Box meeting where Jackson met with Lee for the last time during the Battle of Chancellorsville. And this is the final last meeting. You can see Jackson's pointing off. He'll never return, him and Lee. He's going to go around the flank to try to capture Joe Hooker's army. A monument marking Jackson's flank march. Here, it just shows here how he was trying to march these guys to get them around. This was his demise. Jackson's troops marched down this road. Now this is purportedly the raincoat that Jackson had on when he was killed. It's on exhibit at VMI, Virginia Military Institute. I promised you shot a Little Sorrel. Here it is. This is his horse, Jackson's horse he was on the night he was killed. Survived, and it was stuffed and put in the VMI museum. Little Sorrel. Jackson's saddle here, supposedly, he was in the night it happened. Another close-up of the rain poncho, complete with bullet hole, supposedly. Back view of the poncho here. Close up here, a little Sorrel's magnetic personality. Robert E. Lee was terribly hurt by losing Stonewall Jackson. He says, "You have lost your left arm, and I have lost my right arm." Jackson's monument here on his grave site. The bad lighting has killed the face, but doing his reconnaissance work always, and that's how he died, by being out there in the front, always doing his own scouting. Picture of Stonewall here without his beard. This marks the end of the video.